Exodus within the APC in Delta State. Former Deputy Senate President and former Speaker of the Delta State House of Assembly both dumped the party. And Atiku Abubakar has emerged as a candidate of the ADC for the presidential election of 2027. But after that, what next for opposition coalition ahead of a very crucial election of 2027? Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on China's television. I'm Sean Wakimale, live for you here in our Abuja studio. Let's begin the conversation tonight by letting you know that there seems to be some trouble for the APC in Delta State, as former Deputy Senate President Ovie Omar Agege has officially defected from the APC to the National Democratic Congress NDC ahead of the 2027 elections. Senator Omar Agege announced his move in a statement released, describing it as the outcome of weeks of reflection, wide consultation of and honest conversations with supporters and stakeholders across the country. He said in that statement that it has formally announced his decision to join the National Democratic Congress. The former Deputy Senate President is dumping the APC after losing out in the APC senatorial primaries. And it's not the only one that has dumped the APC. Former Speaker of the Delta State House of Assembly, Honorable Victor Oche, has also resigned his membership of the APC, although he is not mentioned in his statement where he's added to. But in that statement, which he issued earlier today, he said his decision followed deep reflections and wide consultations, adding that he had chosen to continue his political journey elsewhere. The former Speaker of the House in Delta State says he's joined the APC in 2016 with more sincerity of purpose and a strong belief in the vision and future of the party. He said he devoted himself to the strengthening of the party at different levels over the years. But he says that he remained proud of the contributions made during his time in the party, including efforts to encourage youth and women participation as well as promoting democratic engagement in the state of Sali. He said he no longer believes in some of those values, or some of those values that he believes in are no longer evident in the APC. So much that we need to talk about tonight, everyone. But before we get into all of that, those who are concerned about the manner in which INEC has positioned itself ahead of the elections, and also we'll be asking questions about Atiku's emergence as a candidate of the ADC. So what? Then what? What happens next? What does it change in the scheme of things? Is Atiku a leading opposition phase, or what exactly should Nigerians be looking forward to? Please get our attention tonight, everyone. Sit tight, because first, let me serve you with some of your political roundup stories.
The Nigeria Labour Congress has decried Nigeria's worsening security and economic situations and asking that the federal government takes decisive steps to address the problem as millions of citizens continue to endure severe hardship under policies that have deepened poverty and insecurity across the country. The call to tackle the twin problem of insecurity and economic hardship is the focus of the Eid al-Kabir celebration message at the Labour Center issued on Wednesday, where the NLC leadership called on political leaders to reflect on the consequences of their economic decisions. President of the NLC, Mr. Joe Ajero, cited the recent abduction of school children in Oyo State, deadly attacks in Kwara State and other parts of the country as indications that the government is losing its grip with the country's security. The senator representing Kwara Central, Senator Salihu Mustafa, has reaffirmed his confidence in the All Progressives Congress, describing the APC as the strongest political platform in the country, with growing support across Kwara State. He maintained that the party would remain unbeatable if members continue to work together in unity and support the programs of both the state and federal governments under President Bola Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda. The senator stated this while paying homage to the Emir of Ilorin, Ibrahim Sulu Gambari. He notes that with the support and large following being enjoyed by the party, the togetherness and prospects being enjoyed by the party cannot be matched by other political parties. Controversy appears to be trailing the APC governorship primary election conducted in Benue State on Thursday, the 21st of May 2026, as an aggrieved aspirant, Jeffrey Kuraun, is calling for the cancellation of the poll, having filed a petition before the Appeals Committee of the party. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, Mr. Kuraun claims the election was neither credible, transparent, nor reflective of democratic standards expected within a ruling political party. He alleged that what transpired was a grave subversion of internal democracy and a deliberate manipulation of a process that ought to have reflected the genuine will of party members across the 276 council wards and 23 local government areas of Benue State. A member of the African Democratic Congress from Kebbi State, Idris Kalgo, has condemned the party's House of Representatives primary elections, describing it as a shame and robbery of democracy. Addressing journalists in Kebbi, Mr. Kalgo said no elections were held as they were still waiting for voting to commence when results were announced, to the surprise of all party faithful. He therefore calls on the national leadership of the party to cancel the results and fix a new date for the party's primary in the state election.
Let's rewind it, practically speaking, but it's important for a context because it was yesterday night, deep in the night. It took about 2 days for the African Democratic Congress under the David Mark leadership to collate and announce the result of the primaries, which was basically between Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president, former governor of Rivers State, Rotimi Amechi, and businessman Mohammed Ayatollah. But yesterday, late in the night, we saw former Vice President Atiku Abubakar emerged as the presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress for the elections. The result was announced yesterday by the chairman of the party, Senator David Mark. Officially, he presented the party flag to Atiku Abubakar after he was declared winner, with Atiku said to have garnered 1.846320 million votes, while Amechi got just about half of that. That's 405,117, with Ayatollah with 177,120 votes. The total votes is about 2.5 million. In total, party membership for the election is said to be put at 3.1 million.
Announcement of the collated results by the chairman of the Presidential Election Committee. It is my very rare privilege and honor to declare His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar as the winner of the presidential primary election, having secured the highest number of votes and hereby returned as the presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress for the 2027 general elections.
My dear friends, we have faced great challenges in building this coalition, believe me. Let us now turn our energies to continuing to build this party as we prepare for the campaign to win the elections and to rescue this country from the current misrule. We have a sacred responsibility to build a party that will stand as a great institution, not only in Nigeria, but as a great example across the world. I, Atiku Abubakar, therefore appeal to all those who feel aggrieved to come back to our party and close ranks with the rest of us. I appeal to all those who contested for various positions in our primaries to close ranks with us. In particular, I invite Chief Rotimi Amechi and Alhaji Muhammad Hayatuddin to join me in this fight to save our democracy and our country. As I said previously, there are no winners and no losers.
This primary is not simply about selecting a candidate. It is about beginning a national rescue mission. And so, I want to appeal directly to our three aspirants, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, GCON, Right Honorable Rotimi Amechi, CON, Alhaji Mohammed Hayat.
All right, so that was how it all went down. But in Atiku Abubakar's speech yesterday, he mentioned that he's going to ensure that he reaches out to the aggrieved members or those who contended with him in that race. So we saw that practically happen today, where the former vice president has now visited former Rivers State governor, who was the runner-up in that race, Rotimi Amechi, at his Abuja residence. The former vice president visited the Rotimi Amechi following what he said he would do yesterday night after being declared winner. And we saw him being accompanied by former Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal, former ADC National Chairman Ralph Nwosu, and other party leaders. All right, then. We get some more details on that meeting, the emergence of Atiku Abubakar, and what this means altogether for the 2027 race. Is there a formidable opposition against Bola Tinubu? We'll find out tonight on the program. But before we get into all that, you need to be concerned when there are those who are worried about INEC, the umpire, and the manner in which it conducts its activities. So we've heard and seen those who are in the movement for credible election come out to say that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, should withdraw its reported appeal against a federal high court judgment nullifying aspects of the commission's timetable and schedule of activities for the 2027 general elections. There was a statement issued today by the group, which include Dr. Usman Bugaje, Dr. Obiageli Ezekwesili, Ms. Bilikisu Magoro, and Olawale Okunoyi, where they have warned that the appeal could undermine public confidence in INEC's neutrality and credibility ahead of the 2027 polls. Let's speak now with one of the signatories to that statement and one of the conveners of the Movement for Credible Election in Nigeria, Dr. Usman Bugaje, who was a former presidential advisor, a former member of the House of Reps, and a political analyst and scholar. It's live for us virtually on the program. Thanks so much indeed, Dr. Bugaje, for your time tonight.
A pleasure, Sean.
Why would you say INEC should not appeal a matter, a judgment that literally decapacitate his ability to stand his ground in the face of his regulatory authority as an umpire?
First, the judgment did not incapacitate INEC. If you look at the judgment carefully, what it's basically doing is declaratory. It's a declaratory judgment, basically explaining to INEC that it is, going beyond the powers that it has been given. Section 29 has, clearly demarcated, the powers that INEC have in regulating elections and to allow the political parties to, properly prepare for the election. So what the judgment has done is basically to set limits for INEC, because INEC has been, overreaching and overstepping the bounds that the electoral law has given it, and has been interfering in ways that we have not seen before. INEC would receive a court order, and then they will now, come again with another court order and doing what they are doing. We can see that clearly with some of the opposition parties. So I think the judgment of Justice Umar is basically trying to, lead INEC to play its role properly well. Because what it did earlier on was clearly designed to muzzle up opposition, and it went beyond what the law has provided, trying to move from a regulator to a stakeholder, because when you appeal for a declaratory judgment, they are basically trying to step the bound of a regulator into a stakeholder. What basically the judgment did is to say, look, these 120 days that are given will go up to September. So allow the parties to do their work properly well so that they can work within the law. And basically that's the law. I'm aware that there is another judgment by Justice Omotosho that is being perceived to have been to be something completely against that of Justice Umar. I'm sure you are aware of that, Shaun.
Yeah, but Dr. Bugaji, if your group says INEC risk losing its neutrality by appealing the Federal High Court judgment on that election timetable, but INEC could argue easily, Dr. Bugaji, to say it is merely seeking a judicial clarification on its constitutional powers. Why do you interpret the appeal as a threat to democracy rather than a legitimate legal process? Doesn't INEC have the powers to say we do not agree with the position of the court because it's whittle down our powers and make our plans ahead of the election a mockery?
Fair enough. If they want, they can go ahead to do so. We are just simply advising them, because what they did in the first place was not with consultation of the political parties. Every time INEC is working out on an electoral timetable, it works with the political parties under IPAC. And this timetable was done without consultation with the political parties. It was after the timetable took place, the political parties insisted that they wanted to see INEC, and they sat down, and in that particular sitting, they were able to show INEC a number of areas where it went wrong. It conceded certain grounds, but it upheld certain grounds. That kind of discussion should have continued, but INEC did not show any interest in proceeding with that kind of discussion. And it was, clearly trying to straitjacket every political party, while the law itself, the electoral law itself, has allowed more time for political parties to get ready. All the judgment did was to say, hey, wait a minute. The law itself, Section 29 in particular, has given political parties up to September. Why are you asking them to have to submit everything, in May? And basically, it's like, a clarifying for INEC. Now, if INEC does not like that kind of clarification, it seeks to go to another court for another clarification. Fair enough, it has the right to do so. But what it means then is that public perception is now going to change. Remember, Shaun, in 2023, Afrobarometer took a survey, and only 23% of Nigerians had confidence in INEC. So already INEC was very low. More than 3/4 of Nigerians in 2023 did not have confidence, did not trust INEC. Now, with that very low perception and esteem, we thought INEC would do better if they pull back and listen to what the courts are saying and then try to adjust to gain the confidence of the political parties. If it doesn't want to gain the political parties' confidence and it wants to go on its own, fair enough, let it go. There are consequences.
But, you cited the Afrobarometer findings, which, according to your statement, says shows about 23% public trust in INEC, which is very low considering the fact that INEC, 23%, that's very low considering the fact that that organization needs a lot of public trust for it to be able to conduct any election that any Nigerian can hold on to, because legitimacy comes from the fairness and the neutrality of the process. So in that sense, many Nigerians will argue that the distrust did not begin with this appeal INEC is raising, which you say is a threat to our democracy. But from the handling of the 2023 election, that's where the distrust is coming from, especially around issues related to BVAS uploads and result transmission. Now, you have a problem with the timetable and the manner in which INEC has done it. There is also the trust issues there. Are Nigerians simply losing faith in the entire electoral architecture, or is INEC the problem? Because if you say to me, Professor Amupiton is a problem, but Amupiton was not the one who conducted the election in 2023. Is he an institutional, architectural, electoral problem, or what exactly is the issue here? Your group have raised a big concern about this institution electoral process. But who should we hold accountable?
Well, Sheldon, thank you very much for balancing, as you should as a journalist. But let's go a little back. Go back to the electoral law itself, the way it was passed in the parliament. Remember just two things. You remember one of the things that they did, which is a government effort this time, to decriminalize the forgery of certificates, right? And after that, a lot of other mines and ambushes were, introduced into the electoral law. A lot of analysis has been done. You have hosted a number of experts, and they have spoken to you about a number of these mines and traps and booby traps and all the rest of it. But that particular thing tells you something. It tells you that we have now a government that is interested in creating space for criminals. Now come to the final event when the law was eventually passed. You remember there were protests, both in the House of Reps and in the Senate. In one of the houses, a group of senators came out basically declaring the leadership as thieves who have refused to listen to them on matters of electronic, using the electronic transmission of results. So all this is a build-up, with all these things that have happened, the protests that took place in the National Assembly, all these are eroding the confidence. That little 23% that was, that was left in 2023 is going down again. If it comes to 10 or 15%, what kind of elections are we going to have where the bulk of the citizens don't trust, the so-called independent umpire? So the point we are making is basically that INEC must be seen to be transparent, must be seen to be independent, must be seen to be a regulator, not a stakeholder.
So let me ask you a frank question, Dr. Bugaje. What do you see about this election in terms of the ability, because it gets to a point in time that the people become so deeply invested in the process of electing their leaders, so much that they cannot sit on the sidelines. And we've seen Nigerians over the past years who have sat on the sidelines. They sit at home on election day. They really do not care about what exactly is going on as far as the election is concerned, not knowing that their lives and livelihood is determined on the people they elect into office. And in this sense, do you think Nigerians are so invested right now ahead of the 2027 election? Have Nigerians been pushed emotionally to the point where they want to determine who elect them? Do you see a change in atmosphere from what we saw in 2023? Or just going to be the little turnout and people then complaining later, whoever emerges at the end of the day?
Thank you very, very much for this question. Sean, it's everybody's knowledge that the government is working with INEC to sabotage opposition political parties. You have seen what has happened to the PDP. You have seen what has happened to the Labour Party. You have seen what has happened to SDP. You have seen what is happening to other smaller parties, even the PRP, that we thought was like, not much attention is going to be paid. So there is this, clear, if you like, surreptitious move to destroy the opposition party so that the ruling party will be left alone to stand. I don't know what kind of election that is going to be when we have muzzled out everybody. So who are you going to compete with? Where is the election? And you just need to go to the social media to see the tremendous frustration with young people in particular. There are lots of drama, there are lots of skits that are being done to show both government and INEC as working together to see how they can frustrate opposition parties. We are basically intervening to say, INEC, you need to redeem your image. If you are going to conduct this election, you need to build trust of the citizens. And the way to do it is not to behave like a stakeholder, is not to behave like an interested party, to remain as a regulator and to remove all the obstacles that have been put on the path of opposition political parties, still working within the law.
Now, give us your real fear. There is growing anxiety around the 2027 election. There are those who complain about economic hardship, regional tension, rising political coalitions, and public anger against institutions. Is your group concerned ultimately that Nigeria may be heading toward a legitimate crisis, because there are those who say security is not getting any better? But ahead of this election, we've seen the plurality of political alignment, and there are those who say you cannot make any change happen if opposition forces are not ready to come together, because the caliber and the kind of personality, the incumbent, and the manner in which the political party, the ruling party, they posture themselves, it's going to take a miracle to be able to defeat them.
Well, you have to go back a little to remember, the way they removed the provision in the old law for electronic transmission of voting. That, for many, is seen as a preparation for rigging. Because if you do not want to rig, why remove a provision that was already there? All you needed to do to show transparency and to build confidence is to ensure that that provision of transparency is strengthened. Now that was removed, and then INEC has started, under the new leadership, started to do things that were clearly partisan, and it is these kind of signals that are making people to even wonder what kind of elections are we going to have in 2027. And this is what is agitating not only the opposition political parties, but more importantly, young people who see that their future is being completely punctured and destroyed. Young people who have spent the last 3 years of this administration, nothing has improved. They have not gotten jobs. They have not gotten any and there is no hope in the tunnel because the devaluation of the naira, the raising of the prices of petrol, the way the whole government has been focusing on themselves and the level of borrowing and the fact that, like last year, basically, or this year's budget hearings have shown that last year hardly any ministry got any money to do any work. So where is the money going? These are the questions that young people are asking. You are borrowing and borrowing and borrowing, and yet you are not even able to finance the budget. For the first time, we were running 3 budgets at the same time. 2024, 2025, and 2026, and you don't even know when this one stops, when this one starts, and all this confusion, and with all the antics that INEC is playing and other institutions of government like the security and even part of the judiciary, it creates a lot of worry as to what kind of country are we really building. And these young people who are looking forward to something coming from government that will assure them that they will have a normal life like other young people in other African countries and other countries of Asia that are far less rich, not as rich as Nigeria, yet they can see their riches being stolen, being wasted.
Dr. Bugaje, you're raising some of this concern. Are there specific signs you're already seeing that suggest that the country could face serious instability if electoral neutrality or credibility is not restored urgently? And perhaps if you could give us an understanding of the safeguards that could be introduced before 2027 to insulate INEC, if you have done some of these fears, from accusations of executive influence or partisan postural capture.
Well, 2 things here, Shehu. First, I keep going back to the electoral law. If really the government is not courting anarchy, is not actually building the difficulties that are going to lead to anarchy, they need to still go back and change that law and allow for electronic transmission of result. What they call, a transmission that will show everybody the votes that have taken place. Now, that kind of thing is very important. There is still time for it because you can see how they pass, how they do these loans, just simply hours, the request for the loan and the passing. So if they want, they can do it all in one day. So unless you go back and change some of these critical aspects of the electoral law, that image of a government, preparing to rig elections is going to remain there in the minds of many people. So if they really want to improve, that's the place to go. There is still sufficient time to do it. I don't think they will do it, but it's important that we state that there now. The second point is, I am not quite sure from all that I have seen that this government has learned the lessons of other African countries. Look at what's happened in Kenya. There were 2 instances in Kenya this government should learn from. Before the Gen Zs, woke up. And when Nigerian Gen Zs woke up, I don't know what's going to happen. We have seen a taste of it during the NSAS. We have seen a taste of it during the End Bad Governance. When this 3rd wave comes, I don't know how it is going to be, but I know that the level of frustration is intense and people are really on the edge because this is a government, I keep saying, that has not performed. They have not improved on insecurity. They have not improved on welfare. They have not improved on taxes. They have done everything to cripple the economy and to render life completely miserable. And they are, they have encircled themselves with sycophants that are not ready to tell them what exactly is happening. And those of us who speak about these things are seen as opposition. We're not opposition. We're just concerned about the future of our own country. We are concerned about the future of our own children. We have got many children who have graduated, they have no jobs. And even those who have jobs cannot feed themselves. And so if you cannot, with all the wealth that God has given this country, do the kind of governance that you will distribute wealth and allow citizens to see that the government is genuinely trying to help the citizens, like it happens in other countries, then people are going to be, that anger that is building up is definitely going to boil over. Unless certain things are done before the election.
Let's wrap this up quickly in 60 seconds. And my question, I'll probably show you a picture of what things are looking right now. Those who are up against President Bola Tinubu in this race. And you will have this amount of time up until next year, February, when Nigerians will be able to vote. But you see the likes of Atiku Abubakar that has emerged from the ADC. Kachiku Dumebi also contending that he's also a presidential candidate of the ADC. Donald Duke from the PRP, Adebayo Adewale, Prince Adewale of the SDP. Atonda is also contesting that. There is also a candidate of that party. We've seen the expectations that Peter Obi and Konkoso might be on the same ticket for the NDC. And these are going to be people that will be up against President Tinubu. For example, also there's a possibility that APM might have a Sheyi Makinde on the ballot. With your experience, you've been in the National Assembly. You have had one foot also in the executive arm of government. And you've seen how politics has been played in this country. You could also be able to use your experience and your years in this country to be able to give a feel of how this election could pan out in 2027. If you look at a crystal ball, what would be your permutation ahead of this election?
Thank you, Sean. I have a completely different approach to this. All these people with ambition to become presidents and going to different parties and trying to get a ticket, I'm not impressed. They don't seem to understand the level of destruction in the last, let's say, 12 or so years of governments, from that of Muhammadu Buhari to this one. And therefore, what I thought they should be doing, if they truly love this country, to put their ambitions together, come and create a collegiate leadership. Every one of them will be part of that government, but come up with an agenda to salvage this country. Because I hate to be supporting people whose basic ambition is to become president of this country, even without any idea of what exactly they want to do. I have been saying this. You have large number of politicians coming together under one political platform. We have all the big names, but there are no big ideas. What we require is the idea to salvage this country. This is a country with a great promise, with great potential, but which has been destroyed by politicians who are selfish, who are reckless, who are irresponsible. What we require now, I'm not impressed this one is in this party, this one, and I don't think any one particular of them alone can solve the problems of this country. I would rather, if they truly love this country, they come together, they create a collegiate leadership, decide which platform to run, and then salvage this country, work together with a big idea to bring this country to where it should be in the next 25 years.
Dr. Usman Bugaje, a former member of the House of Representatives, former presidential advisor, and one of the conveners of the movement for credible elections in Nigeria. Many thanks for your time tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you
so much indeed. Appreciate it. We'll take a break, everyone. But when we return, what about Atiku Abubakar's emergence? What does this mean for the race of 2027? We'll be analyzing that election, the fallout, and the date. Thanks so much, everyone, for staying with us on the program. Let's get into our next set of conversation about the emergence of Atiku Abubakar as a candidate of the ADC, although there are controversy, because as far as we know today, there are two people bearing that title of presidential candidate of the ADC. The first that emerged was on Sunday, which is Mr. Dumebi Kachiku, who was the flag bearer of the ADC in 2023. Mr. Atiku is the ADC candidate 2. We have ADC candidate 1, But in the real sense of Atiku Abubakar being on the ballot, what does this mean? Let's get into the conversation. I'm being joined by two gentlemen, Laden Sali, who is an ADC member, and here with me in the studio is Mr. Olademeji Fabi, who was also an ADC member. Thanks so much indeed, gentlemen, for joining us.
Thank you so much, Shane, for having me.
You almost could predict that Atiku was going to win the race, isn't it?
No.
You couldn't predict. You thought Amichu was going to beat him?
No.
What did you think?
I just felt the process would throw the best candidate, and that was exactly what the process did. The election, the guidelines of the party talked about how the process should go, and exactly what happened. The process, the party member decided who they wanted, and then they spoke, and they spoke very loudly, and you could see the outcome of the result, and that produced Atiku Abubakar. We're lucky to have a leadership of the party that are so careful, and then they're so determined, about what they wanted to achieve. And they've achieved it. So I commend Senator David Mark and Arek Beshola and the entire National Working Committee for providing that level playing field for everybody. Of course, there's some way you can't run away from the fact that there will be pockets of issues here, but those are not strong enough to actually consume the party.
One of the best things that Atiku Abubakar knows how to do is to win primaries.
He has actually won election before.
Which of them?
He won governorship election in Adamawa.
He does a long time. How old were you?
It doesn't matter. But he has won. We are talking about
history. How old were you?
We are talking about history here. We are talking about history here now.
This was 27 years ago or 26 years.
We are talking about history.
Yeah,
we're talking about history.
Yeah.
So if you say he has ever, he has won an election.
No, I'm not saying he has never won anything. I said that some of the best thing he knows how to do. What he knows how to do most is winning primaries.
No, it's not. That's not.
And give it to him.
He knows
He's
how
won
to win.
primary.
He knows how to win
in the last 4-5 election cycles.
He knows how to win election too. We all know what happened in 2019.
He's lost more elections. He's lost more elections than he's won primaries.
That is because of the system we run in this country. We knew what happened in 2019. We knew what happened in 2023. Even in 2007, we knew what happened. So let's just leave that. Yes.
Alaji Saliu, give us an understanding. Ayatollah said the process is skewed. Amechi said the same thing, that is a rigged process. Your party has now been alleged to be a rigging machine for Atiku Abubakar. Can Nigeria really trust this mandate given to Atiku Abubakar?
Well, it's the usual narrative you hear from sycophants in and out of the system who believe that Nigeria should just be tailored towards one attitude, one way of thinking, not necessarily thinking out of the box. We are literally politically pigeonholed by sentiments, by negative attitudes and negativities, and by people who fill the political space with bad literature that tend to give Nigerians that once some statesman is on the ballot, he should be put on the spot. The government cannot be put on the spot that is bringing and has brought poverty to Nigerians, that has brought shame in the political circle across the globe. Look at what played out at the primaries of the APC. People are not talking about it. The media is not talking about it. The characters that participated in turning the mathematics of counting, not knowing that these images will go around the world, in London, in Washington, in Beijing, in South Africa and other places. They will look at us and we have become a laughingstock. Such attitude did not even exist in the Stone Age, in the age of Homo sapiens. And instead of us being asked questions that are relevant to the candidate that we believe will bring not only hope to Nigerians, but has the quality, the pedigree, the experience, the knowledge, the capacity and eligibility, who amongst the political gladiators that are on the table today, beginning from Bola Ahmed Tinubu to Kachuku to everyone else, who has the credentials to match Atiku Abubakar. And each time this gentleman is out on the radar to put his life, his wealth, his experience, and his time to even do that at the expense of his own businesses, all you hear from, the other side, negative comments. And
I was asking Mr. Laden, just if I'm about it, I asked earlier, I said, look, yes, an overwhelming defeat to his opponent, but those opponents have accused the process, they've rejected the process, alleged manipulation and irregularities. How can Nigerians trust the credibility of the primary election that key contestants themselves have publicly disowned?
No. You see, Sean, I am here in Kaduna. I have supervised these primary elections in the state, in the Zone 3 senatorial district, to be precise, in southern Kaduna. And I have seen in wards where Amechi defeated Atiku, defeated Hayatuddin, and everybody's vote under my watch counted. I can tell you that Atiku's victory in these primaries is authentic, is credible. You can have in a democracy, glitches here and there, but substantially 99% of what played out in the ADC primary can be celebrated within the circumstances that we have.
Mr. Saliu, the fact that Atiku won that is not surprising to someone like me. I said it. The last time you were on this program, I told you, as I could predict, close your eyes, and Atiku is going to win. Atiku is going to defeat them. I said it. But the fact that the irregularities that are being attributed to the primary, we've seen videos, and even some of the candidates, the other candidate contenders have come out with videos saying that the process has been skewed, manipulated. But beyond that, just give me a moment. Let me ask Mr. Ladimeji that Atiku Abubakar was contested severally for president multiple times across different political platforms over the last 3 decades. That those who have argued that his ambition now appears more personal than ideological. What exactly is new about Atiku in 2027 that Nigerians have not already seen before?
Well, I disagree with those who are saying his ambition is more personal. No, that's not true. I think it's about patriotic zeal to the country that has done a lot for him. And he felt, I have what it takes to give back to this country, to give back to the people. I think it's just about that. So when anybody comes up and say that, I ignore them because as far as I'm concerned, they're not making any sense. So here is a man that has given his life. He has been a vice president. He has done so much for this country. In this country, this guy has got, has done so a lot. He went to court sometimes and got judgment that has enriched our case laws in this country. He has done so many. I talked about economy. When he was the vice president, we knew what he did. So as far as I'm concerned, when people talk about it like that, I just, these ones don't know what they're saying.
So it's
I think it's out of...
It's a comparison now. It's about ideology and the multiplicity of time that he has contested across multiple platforms.
I don't know why anybody should be...
Ideology or personality. Because he just wanted to be president. Is that what it is for him?
Okay, what is left for him? He has been vice president. And he believes he has what it takes to lead this country.
So he wants to be president at all costs.
It's not at all costs.
Any platform.
Not any platform. It's not at all costs because why would anybody have a problem about the number of times someone is throwing himself, to
why
service?
Should a Nigerian look towards Atiku other than Tinubu?
Because Atiku is far, far better. Atiku has more to offer this country. Atiku will never be a president and the country will be going through this kind of insecurity. Economy will not be like this. He has done it before. Go and check his record. It's about records now. Let's interrogate this record. He was the vice president in this country, and we know what he did about economy. Most of the things that we see today, most of institutional framework that have worked for this country, were under his supervision. The GSM you carry to do that some youths are using to abuse him now, he revolutionized it. So these are the things. Let's interrogate the records. That's exactly what we're saying.
Can you categorically say, Mr. Ademeji, can you categorically say that Amechi will campaign for Atiku in 2027?
It's going to campaign for. Let me tell you something about this. See,
is it going to be the?
Just hold on.
Has it decided that it's going to be the?
Just hold on. We have not decided on anything, and the party will do what is needed. But let me say this. See, the grievances of Amici and Hayatuddin are very valid. You know why I say that? Because there must be a process that is seen to be free, to be fair and credible. And that's exactly what the party has done. I remember a couple of weeks ago, both Mr. Atiku Abubakar and Amici committed to the fact that whoever wins these primaries, we will support. They made this commitment.
Before the hostilities.
The only person who didn't make the commitment then was the gentleman that went into NDC. And as somebody who wants to be president, you must be able to subject yourself to the process of primaries. It shouldn't be a coronation. And that's exactly what the party has done. So I'm happy that Atiku has taken the initiative in alignment, initiative that is in alignment with the party's vision, that, okay, reach out to these people. Today, you want to see Governor Amici. Tomorrow, maybe tomorrow or next is good. All the road leads to Lagos to see Alhaji Hayatuddin and talk about it, because we need those people in this government. You can't take it away from Amici. Amici is huge on policy formulation, policy articulation. He's good on that. He has legislative experience. You can't take it away. Hayatuddin is an economist, he's a banker, seasoned banker, a private sector person. We need all of these people to come together and let us do. I mean,
Mr. Saliu,
for this country.
Mr. Saliu, although I really don't like talking about this club because they disgust me in every way. It's an opposition club to the team I support in London. But Dino Melaye has compared, and this is not funny. I don't like Arsenal. I never wish they won the Premier League. But Dino Melaye has brought a comparison about how Arsenal, because Atiku Abubakar is an Arsenal fan, and said that since Arsenal could do it, Atiku Abubakar should go ahead and do it. He's won the ticket. But the major worry for some Nigerians will be that the opposition scored an own goal and may not be able to triumph because one leg is Atiku winning the ticket, which may be Arsenal winning the Premier League. But on Saturday, they will face humiliation from PSG in the Champions League final. And the humiliation that the opposition might face in the hands of Tinubu in 2027, the own goal that a lot of people thought that the opposition may have played on itself is not allowing themselves to come to coalesce, allow Peter Obi to go and all of that. Is it a doomsday for the opposition? What factor would Atiku bring to bear if opposition are not be able to come together?
You see, a journey to a greater and more prosperous, more politically developed Nigeria may well have begun. Atiku Abubakar's foot, I can predict, one foot is already in the presidential villa. Why? Because there is going to be a mismatch in the forthcoming elections in 2027. It's a mismatch that will be as clear as chalk is from cheese, as clear as you shown removing the reins of a horse and trying to don it on a goat. This is because we believe that our candidate, like my brother said, Mr. Fabi, has all it takes to, give Nigeria the best kind of leadership that is in consonance with our own pedigree, with our own visibility around the globe, and bringing about the kind of the economic prosperity and development. And Atiku is a team member, he's a team builder, he's a team leader, and he has proven this time and again over the years. These are some of the qualities that he is going to bring to the table. And he has an agenda, he has a document, and the ADC has a document that we will present to Nigerians that will make it very clear it is the way to go.
You think Atiku has a pathway different from what we saw in 2023?
Fantastic. You need to take time to go through them. And again, we are going to...
Tinubu has beaten him once. You think Tinubu will not do it
How
again?
did Tinubu win? How did Tinubu win? Did Tinubu truly win in the real sense of it? You know what I'm talking about. So this is going to be different. See, I am praying that Nigerians wake up from their slumber. It's their decision if they want to remain same or the same. But what ADC has offered is an alternative that will take them out of the woods and the condition this APC government has put them into. So that's all.
Admeji, Fabi, and Ladan Salihu, gentlemen, thanks so much indeed for your time too.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well,
thank you.
I can't wait for Saturday because I see Chelsea like a PSG in the final against Arsenal. Leather beating. The only team in London is Chelsea. But thanks so much indeed, gentlemen. That's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Shion Akimale. God bless Nigeria.